Welcome back to Operation Typhoon. Man, so much has actually occurred here, and it looks like we've also got Soviet partisans actually occurring in a lot of the territory that we have currently occupied. Now, of course, we want to continue forward, and a lot has happened last turn, but as you know, the rains have arrived. It's now October, and this is when the rains arrive, and obviously make things, well, a little more challenging for us, let's say. So I'm going to try to get as close as I can to Rzhev here. Pretty much just see if I can't surround the city and deliver a killing blow, deliver an attack. But again, with all of this rain, it could be quite difficult. We might have to actually wait a bit. At least most of these units will still be in supply range, but with all of this water coming in, who knows if those supplies are even going to get to their designated targets. I do want to increase the front, and moving through this sort of marshy area is tough, moving through the woods, but really, when we have weather like this, any of these locations are going to be pretty difficult to tackle. In fact, I want to make sure that, yeah, you can see the HQ is quite out of range of most of these tanks. We've got them somewhat closer now, but we really want to make sure that all of these HQs remain fairly close. And I'm actually going to push this infantry. So you can see here, instead of doing the typical eastern attack, I'm really trying to sort of hook upwards and cut the enemy off here at Belizharova. But the real target is Moscow. So we want to get close to Moscow. I just want to make sure that there is no resistance in these areas. So this is why we're continuing to push forward, continuing to try and cover as much ground as possible. Now, I actually have an interesting question for anybody watching here, and I absolutely want you guys to share your thoughts in the comments. And that is, do you think that if the Germans took Moscow, that World War II either A, would have ended in a German victory? I think that's very unlikely, but you can argue that. Or do you think that perhaps there would be some, serious repercussions in the Soviet Union if that occurred, but that Germany would still lose the war? I think that's probably what would happen, because the capture of Moscow probably wouldn't finish off the Soviets entirely, but it would be just a killing blow, particularly to Stalin's cabinet. Could, result in him being ousted by his own generals. So that's what we're trying to make happen. But again, I don't think that Germany would have won, even if they did manage to capture Moscow. I think that's just my opinion. But let's see what yours is in the comments down below. You make for some interesting comments, and YouTube seems to like those. So here we go. I'm seeing what else can we cut off. We've got Tula, Mozhaisk, Orel. I think Orel is going to be essential to cut off. And we can probably take it pretty quickly, although we are diverting some SS troops here when honestly they should be used elsewhere. It's okay, though. Got to make some sacrifices. We'll completely cut off the city, and this way we know for sure we can capture it. Of course, we will continue to bring up the HQs so that they're feeding these guys, getting them the supplies that they need. Got to get a little bit closer with him. Here we go, and make sure that the rest of these infantry units are in range as well. So again, heading right through the rain. We've got no choice. We're also kind of bypassing this area here. I think it might be a fort. Let me see the map info screen. Yeah, it is a fort. Not really. It's 0. So no, not a fort. Just an air base. All right, so this is Bryansk Air Base. We are going to have to dedicate some attackers here, but I think we're going to go ahead and do a concentrated attack. And as you can see, the population of Orel something has evacuated here. But we haven't done a deliberate attack at all this turn, so let's go for it. And Bryansk population is evacuating already, as you can see. Trying to escape. Ah, this is Bryansk. I'm surprised it's not one of the official capture locations. So we did not succeed there. 439 men lost. That's not too bad for us, honestly. Still going to bring in a mechanized squad. This is how desperately I want to attack this area and defeat it. Yeah, defending forces are holding. We're going to have to wait a bit. I'm surprised, but they've got a pretty nice stranglehold around Bryansk. So let's not lose men unnecessarily. We'll just go ahead, push them forward. HQs are actually okay where they are now. But let's make sure we capture this territory. This will not stop partisans from forming. At the very least, though, we are capturing this territory officially. So that they can't cut off our supply here or anything like that. The partisans could still cut off our supply, though. I want to make that clear. So I'm kind of going through all these zones that are not officially taken. And it looks like we've got still some NKVD border guard units here. Again, I don't typically use those motorized regiments to attack single units like that, but we can't, give up that opportunity when it presents itself. Time to move the tanks. Kursk. Man, we are approaching some major cities here. And again, I don't think we can go for Moscow unless we take Kursk, Orel, all these other locations. I'm going to make absolutely sure that that general is close by. But first, I'm going to go ahead and shut down Shirgi Airfield. And again, I didn't think that this particular Army Group South, I think it's actually part of Army Group Center, but I'm calling it Army Group South for this battle. I didn't think they were going to be very useful, but look at this. We're getting into Sumy, and we can certainly move eastwards to, I think, no, maybe we can't take Kharkov. I think that's off our map. But we can assist in taking Kursk. So I'm going to go here to Belgorod, make sure to shut that down with this mechanized squad. And despite the rain, it looks like our mechanized squads are moving pretty quickly. Of course, keep in mind, every time that they evacuate population like this, it's actually hurting them in the long run. It's pretty much taking up those rail lines that could otherwise be used for soldiers, and providing it, of course, for the people escaping these cities. So I don't think that's going to go so well for the enemy, and I'm actually tempted to go ahead and attack here because it looks like a single unit. Let's do it. Ooh, the cavalry division held, took 14 tanks out. Yeah, that's not good. What else can we do here? So let's keep on cutting off Orel. Though, wait a minute, let me see what color this is. No, I want to keep these tanks together. Let's not separate these guys. That's just not going to help us out. Yeah, it's 16, so we're going to have to bring these tanks in either way to attack. Or we're going to have to bring some infantry a little bit closer to attack, because even with another turn of no supplies, I think they're going to remain pretty strong. Let's take this guy, and we'll push right through here. Make sure to cut off those retreating units. My biggest concern now is just the rain making it really, really hard for our infantry to make it any closer. But besides that, I mean, I think we're off to a good start. We're in position to take Kursk next turn. Probably in position to take a few more of these towns next turn. In fact, I'm just going to kind of roll through here and grab whatever I can, shutting down airfields along the way, of course. Anytime you see one of those blue little airfield icons disappear, they've either abandoned it or we've captured it. Either works out quite well in our favor. Oh, boys. It's interesting, though, that they've pulled that defensive line back. And I wonder what they're defending. I don't think Stalingrad is on this map, is it? No. So really, their main defensive point, or the place they have to defend, is going to be Moscow right there. I'm almost tempted to just start bringing these guys north. Like, let's forget this southern part. We'll just start pushing north and attack from the south, essentially. And again, this is one of those series, well, any of my series on my channel are like this, but this is one of those series where backseat gaming is absolutely encouraged. If you've got any tips, suggestions, or just, just basic ideas like, oh, maybe try this, please feel free to drop them down there in the comments below. Another thing I should be doing, I didn't even realize, is let me keep on surrounding the city, because we're going to have to attack next turn, and without infantry, we're probably going to lose a lot of armored units trying to get in there. Make sure that this, yep, that's getting to all the other HQs, but I want to push him up a little closer. This is, of course, the main HQ, Panzer Group here, Army Group Center. Let's grab the mounted division, and here we go. So at this point, we've trapped them. They are not getting any supplies. I think the only thing the enemy can do is drop supplies into the city, but I doubt they're even going to try to do that. Although, look at this. Got to get this general closer to his men. Especially since we're so close to Kursk here. We'll have to bring these guys back next turn, or eventually get some supplies to them. Now the question is, do we want to take another attack on Bryansk? I don't think so. Let's hold on for now. And I just hope that our security units are doing their jobs behind the lines at this point, stopping all of those partisans, because even on turn one, they've begun to give us problems, and that's a very bad sign. The last thing we need are supplies not getting to our men because of partisan attacks. I think at some point somebody mentioned that, but this could just be for the Grand Campaign. At some point, we're going to get some additional Italian units, I believe. We can maybe put them on anti-partisan duties here. Just kind of keep them behind the lines. All right, let's check the HQs. This one could stand to move up a little bit farther. And if I'm not mistaken, it's actually better to keep them on the rail lines. And look at this, man. Still so much movement to finish here. Well, yes and no. I'm not going to attack here. We could attack, but I think the best thing to do is wait until next turn. I don't think that weather is going to improve, though. I think it's going to remain pretty muddy and pretty awful out here. That's kind of just the nature of Russia at this particular, well, in this particular month specifically. But I am going to make sure that we are supplying our units to the best of our ability. Let's get right up there on the rail yard. Move these generals up to supply their men. And let's keep it going. As always, I'd ask you, please don't forget to like and comment. This is one of those games that doesn't get the attention it really deserves. Ooh, we've still got some armor. I'm going to keep my armor pretty close by here, actually. Just for this one situation. Got Tula and Kaluga here. But I will cut off Vyazma. And Yukhnov Depot is captured. A nice little depot capture there, but the more important thing is that Vyazma will be another city we can likely take next turn. Rzhev, Vyazma, these are all cities that we're likely going to be able to take next turn. Of course, you never know what's going to happen in these fights. Anything could happen, really. Move this guy up. Yeah, he's not in a great position. I've spread these guys out way too much. That SS division is way out there. This guy is out of movement points. But I don't think we're doing too bad. We could be certainly doing better on these movements to minimize, let's say, the amount of guys that are going to be out of supply. But sooner or later, we will get them back into supply. Here we go, for instance. Don't worry, the general is on his way. It's not too bad. Let's see if we can improve it. But again, by trying to improve it, we could also make it worse. So I think I'll keep it like that, keep things fairly simple, and that's going to be sufficient to go ahead and end this turn. Trying not to leave any gaps, although easier said than done. The 23rd Infantry Division right there. That was a reckless attack, but I really wanted to kill him. We only lost a single tank. Getting a bit cocky here, but look at that, 910 Soviets down. This might be worth it just to remove any resistance near Vyazma. Because the last thing we need to do is deal with resistance near the city. We need to focus entirely on capturing it. Alright. Let's end that turn. See those engineers back there working on the railroads? Look at that. That's so cool. I guess this could be maybe where the partisans attacked. Would that be it? Possibly. Okay, guys. We are ending the turn here. Oh, first things first. Need to remember, this is very important. If you don't want to do the AI depot management, allow the AI to manage the depots. The AI does a great job at the depot management aspect here, so I pretty much trust them 100%. And let's end our turn. Here we go. Getting off freight wherever our units are out of their general supply, and hopefully our guys are getting to their destination. But I want to see if there are going to be any Soviet counterattacks, especially Soviet counterattacks in this torrential downpour we've got going. Okay, let's see. So just basically doing their air... I'm guessing they're going to go for close air support, or maybe just for anti-air focuses. Try and knock out our supply, transport of planes, etc. I'm not really sure. What do you guys think that the Soviets would likely do right now? We can actually see their sorties down in the lower right-hand corner, and we could have switched over to the air-directed phase. I don't want to do that right now because I could potentially screw up this recording. But let's see what they do. Let's see how many planes they lose, and we'll get a good idea of what they're going for. Maybe also just a lot of recon movement right now. But you can see Vyazma, look at that. They've got a major lack of supply there. In contrast, our units seem to be pretty well supplied. Let's see if they bring in some units to try and save Vyazma and all of these cities that we are on the doorstep of. Time for a cigar here. All I need is a perfect German general here. Probably going to be outside of our this turn, but I think we could potentially take Vyazma depending on what this looks like. Of course, we are going to auto the air phase. They have a pretty good idea of what to do. I think that if we were playing campaign, I would probably go ahead and do it myself. But since we are playing an operation, I'm going to let the AI focus on this and look at that. Let's take a look here. More Soviet partisan attacks, and they are increasing in intensity, unfortunately. But let's go ahead, let our planes do their thing. All right, all things considered, looking pretty good. Not a lot of losses on that air phase, and we got a lot of information behind the enemy lines. So certainly something I want to do here is try and take Bryansk. We do have to do a full attack here, but the population is evacuating. And I don't see how they can because we've got all the rail lines covered. Nonetheless, they surrender. 19,000 soldiers surrendered, and the city is officially ours. So we want to keep on pushing forward over here, of course, but again, we're going to do that northward movement. We might as well try and take Kursk right here. You know what? I might actually be able to bring up some infantry. Maybe the rain is not as bad here, because it seems like our infantry can move a little bit farther. And I'm going to see if I can just accomplish this task with 1 or 2 infantry units. No, that's enough. There we go. And as you can see, it looks like the defenders of Kursk are surrendering, guys. A lot of their actual people here have gone to Chelyabinsk, but the 9th Cavalry Division surrendered there. 3,000 prisoners, and Kursk is officially ours. So some nice grabs this turn. I mean, no doubt about it. I'm going to go up here and continue to cut off other cities. Just cause general havoc, of course. Here we go. Now, I don't know if you guys saw that, but we were getting that little blue line as we were leaving the airfield. I wonder if, like, for a few turns, we actually use up the supplies of the airfield, like the fuel and stuff. That would be pretty cool. Now, over here, I'm not sure we should attack Orel this turn. Looks like they're still pretty damn strong. But let's see how close we are to Moscow. Look at that. Moscow is right there. We've still got a lot of ground to cover. Mozhaisk and Kaluga are still in the way, as well as Kalinin. But guys, we are closer than ever. And who knows? Maybe this is the road to victory. Plenty of units still to move, but of course we're going to have to deal with this terrible Soviet weather. If it's not rain, it's snow. If it's not snow, it's mud. So obviously a lot of work still to be done. I might actually make a push here for Rzhev because I'm a crazy bastard. And because, you know, you guys that stick around to the very end, you deserve it. So if you've gotten this far, then make sure we need a glory to Rzhev or glory to victory in Rzhev in the comments. How about that? And here we go, guys. Massive attack. Not sure it's a wise attack either. Look at all of the different units that we've dedicated to it. And we did rout them out of Rzhev. Incredible. I am going to try to get some infantry units in there. We might not be able to. That may have been sort of a silly attack just because we're not going to be able to capitalize on it. Okay, nice. And we're going to leave it to the 129th Infantry Division to hold the city against any Soviet attacks. I really hope these boys can handle that job. It's going to be a tough one. Go ahead and close off the Soviets here. And we might even go for an attack in the woods over here next turn to wipe out resistance and just continue pushing towards Moscow. Anyway, guys, I hope you're enjoying. And again, I want to thank you so much for showing up and being a part of this series. In fact, as an added bonus, we can take Vyazma this turn as well. We also need to look at the casualty screen. That's right. I would never not allow you guys to take a look at the casualty screen. Now, despite them actually having a really nice defense here, we did push them out of the city. They routed completely. And again, the city belong to us. Here we go. Your base belong to us. The city belong to us. Let's take a look at the total losses. And look, I mean, we've had some pretty decent losses ourselves, 279,000 men. It looks like only 8,700 of those men were killed, but 270,000 serious injuries. That's not fun. 86,000 Soviets killed, 519,000 of them wounded, and 120,000 of them captured. And if we keep surrounding them like we did there, we can keep boosting that capture. And I think actually increasing the capture ratio is going to lower the enemy morale a lot faster. So it's something we should absolutely consider. Let me just get one more attack. I can't get enough of this game, guys. One more attack over here against this weak infantry unit. Deliberate attack against the 290th Rifle Division, and an easy shatter there, just adding to those Soviet casualties. All right, my friends, I'll see you on the next one. You know what you got to do. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. Sharing is caring. Thank you, Centurions.